Hi everyone, James Paddock here, and today I'm going to talk to you about HARMOHE. An often overlooked Doom Engine game, released in 2009, HARMOHE was designed by one man, Thomas van der Velden, also known as TV. Inspired by first-person shooters from the early 90s like Doom and Duke Nukem 3D, HARMOHE is a game that oozes both charm and atmosphere in equal parts, and TV's art direction is on full display in the form of his level design, his 2D sprites, and the enemy models which originated as handcrafted clay sculptures. You have to admire the craftsmanship that went into this. There's no question that TV is a creative polymath. He's been in the Doom community for as long as I can remember, having designed his own level sets like Revolution and TV 1998. He also contributed heavily in both the mapping and art departments to Plutonia 2, a community-made sequel to Final Doom's Plutonia experiment. I'd best describe his mapping style as inventive. He establishes a real sense of place and purpose with all of his efforts, and some of his settings are simultaneously so unique. I myself get a real sense of being inside his own personal universe. Playing the average Thomas van der Velden map brings out a lot of moments of, that's just really cool, and if you're a mapper like me, it also comes with, I wish I'd thought of that. And certainly HARMOHE is set in its own distinct universe. The game features 11 levels with a unique colour palette of vibrant blues, oranges and yellows, plus a set of completely custom textures. The game follows a storyline summed up in a comic strip featured on TV's website. In the aftermath of a deadly nuclear war, Earth's human males have all become corrupt mutants who formed a new world order known as the Pax Pox, whose mission is to rid the world of the impure. The surviving women have formed an alliance known as the Amazons. You play as the titular character HARMOHE, an Amazon fighter on a quest to save their leader Amira from the clutches of the Pax Pox, spilling as much mutant blood as you can on the way. Overall, the maps are pretty linear, but they're neatly contained, and TV's clever and innovative concepts carry throughout the campaign of HARMOHE. You might even say the maps pack a level of interactivity on par with your average build engine game. There's vending machines to get health from, explosive boxes to destroy, crystal trip mines that will hurt you if you trigger them, and there's a moving underground train for God's sake. There's a huge amount of creativity on display here, and as far as I know, all of this was achieved with the vanilla Doom mapping format. There's no 3D floors, no action code script, no poly objects, merely an extensive dehacked patch and a ZDoom map info. That's pretty much it. It's insane to think that this game probably could have very easily been pulled off in 1993. I'm now going to cover HARMOHE's 11 levels in finer detail just so you can see exactly what this game has to offer. There will be spoilers ahead. Level 1, Abduction. Make sure to grab the armor at the start and the grenades down the hallway. Taking place in a military barracks, there's all sorts of cool stuff already being shown off here. You'll be introduced to the beastlings here, as one actually breaks through a ventilation duct before charging at you. They're mostly harmless and go down in a couple of shotgun shots. Make your way outside with the green card and start mowing down followers. They're the shotgun guys in this game, and they're by far the most plentiful enemy you'll face. Games from the 90s always had to have unfeasibly powerful hit scanners as their most common enemy, didn't they? Follow the trail of mutants until you find Amira getting abducted by the Pax Pox, then avoid the powerful Predator and his homing projectiles, and then make your way across the river. Trigger this touch plate, which makes this submarine sink, then head downstream to the exit boat. Level 2, Harm's Way. You've floated downriver for a bit, but your boat has encountered a fatal error, so you're forced to trawl through the caves, whereupon you'll stumble on this fancy-looking house of worship. There's some seriously cool architecture to see here, although if you happen to take a wrong turn too early into the caverns, you'll definitely be ripped apart by the followers' shotguns. Oh, look at that, a nuclear warhead. There's a climactic shootout in this mutant church hall where you'll lower the warhead to get the green key, blast your way through more tunnels, light this fire, and get out of harm's way. Level 3, Outmood? Like Doom 2 backwards? Really? Outmood? Watch out, those glowing grenades are live, so do not touch. Instead, fire at them with your plasma pistol. This level is set in a sprawling network of direly lit caverns with danger around every turn. It will introduce you to the phages, vile spider-like mutants with a rapid-fire plasma gun, pretty much this game's arachnotrons. You'll want to get them to infight wherever you can. Here you'll also grab a minigun, which you'll be able to use against the mutant soldiers, this game's chain gunners. Be on your toes and make sure to grab this extra belt of grenades on your way down the waterfall. The combat intensity ramps up dramatically here with a fight in this watery basin which is plagued with phages, and then this arena stuffed with followers and soldiers. Also watch out for this especially fiendish elevator past the purple door. Do battle with the final throng of phages amidst this earthy henge, then clamber down this ladder back to civilization. Level 4, Megalopolis. TV creates a grand sense of place here with this sweeping, bustling city, although many paths throughout it are closed off behind insurmountable obstacles like overturned cars and furniture blocking your way, creating the illusion of a wide open world while the progression demands that you take it strictly area by area. You'll cross paths with the giant centaur for the first time here, a hideous Goliath sporting the ability to fire both rocket-propelled crystal missiles and trip mines. For the most part, circle strafing him as you would a cyber demon is the tactic here, but generally my inclination is to lead them into areas where they can't pin you down. As you'll soon see, TV clearly doesn't want you to go toe-to-toe with these guys in every case. The level also introduces you to the entropy thrower, which is by far the most effective weapon in the whole game. You'll want to fall back on this baby in a lot of cases because the game is extremely generous with the portions of ammo it gives you for it. Fight your way through the theatre, grab the goodies in this hockey rink, and thin out the hordes roaming the mutant zoo before progressing to Level 5, the hospital, a fast and frantic level. As soon as you drop in unannounced, you'll be beset by followers and forced to fight through quite a few tough enemies in comparatively low space. Luckily, there's health aplenty in the form of these inordinately convenient vending machines. Make your way outside, but be prepared for an onslaught. Grab the key and head through to the streets, but take care to deal with these laser trip mines from a good distance, or they'll really put the hurt on you. Level 6, the Weapons Factory. By far the most mean-spirited level in the whole set. Your only opposition here will be the cyberdemon-like centaurs, and there are about 20 of them, many of which you simply won't have the munitions to deal with. As soon as you see this edifice, run and don't stop. Your only friend along the way will be your entropy thrower, which you'll basically need to keep equipped at all times since there's probably another centaur around every suspicious looking corner. Be totally sure to nab this super secret armor. There's also plenty of devilish platforming and crusher dodging to do as you blast through this hot-blooded layer cake of a level, up and down from floor to floor, trying your best not to get blown to smithereens. The peak of this map's sadistic streak takes place on the roof of the factory, where you'll be surrounded by 8 centaurs all at once, with one guarding the crucial key. Deal with him and then leg it down the shaft. Carefully shoot your way through this maze of trip mines, again keeping hyper alert of the centaurs stalking about in the dark. One last centaur guards the exit door, then you can finally escape. Level 7, the Underwater Lab. This underlit subterranean complex is crawling with critters. Literally, these things, called critters, tiny little bug-like wretches that travel in hordes and will nibble you to death if not dealt with swiftly. Here, the darkness will probably be your worst foe, as it does a good job of obscuring where the next point of progression is, where the level opens up eventually, culminating in a hectic firefight over an electrified floor with these 4 phages in an eerily familiar setting. Head through the circular door here and blow the whole place to pieces with the auto-destruct, but not before hot-footing it onto the underground train. Level 8, Airstrip 1. This map, set on an aeronautical base of some sort, has a lot of eye candy for you to ogle at, including this awesome animated train ride at the very beginning, and an assortment of airships which you'll run into across the various landing pads. A comparatively easy level which, if you'll pardon the pun, flies by. The threat level of the enemies is relatively low, but the action is high octane and you'll find yourself with plenty of space to deal with them. It's honestly good fun, but you should find yourself acclimated to Harmonie's gameplay loops by now, so you probably won't find much challenge here unless the centaur on the main landing pad gives you grief. Level 9, the Launch Base. Another fairly breezy map, all things considered, although you will get lost if you're not yet party to Harmonie's methods of level progression, such as its required crawls through ventilation ducts. Just keep an eye out for how the level unfolds around you, as it does a good job of making sure new routes are visible to you as soon as they become opened. The dark in the underground sections will unsettle you at first, but there's relatively little opposition to contend with, up until the green key ambush, which might surprise you. After that, it's a relatively methodical trek through the base's living quarters, where you'll happen upon the yellow key and the freezer for some reason, and then make your way to the surface again. There's quite a cool sense of there being multiple vertical levels to the layout in this map, and don't miss this really cool launch sequence where you get to fire rockets into the air. In the final area, you get to blast a massive hole in this wall and then make an escape over the electric barrier in this cool ship. Onwards to Level 10, the Radioactive Zone. This level has a really cool look depicting giant mushrooms looming in the depths of a vast valley, with more tribal/gothic base settings like we saw in the first 3 or so maps, so this is a welcome break from the stretch of industrial levels that came before it. The opposition remains fairly brutal throughout though. The first big fight takes place in this great tower where you'll have to ride a tide of radioactive slime to the top, all the while being beset from all sides by mutant enemies. The entrance to the outpost, which is heavily guarded, and this labyrinth stuffed with mutants and explosive traps will probably give you the most trouble. This map has some really cool faux 3D constructs going on once you get to the outpost, and once you've tackled the most serious encounters, you should have a lot of fun with this one. A very strong and memorable level, which is just as well, because now we're moving on to Level 11, Echidna. The final level, which has you dropping in on the enemy leader's doorstep. Again, the place is absolutely brimming with powerful foes. There's a centaur that emerges from the wall here, whom you'll have to fight with explosives. Find the keys, make your way through these foreboding fleshy aqueducts, until you arrive in the lair of Echidna, who you soon realize was in fact your Amazon friend Amira, now mutated into the Pax Pox's Battle Queen. She takes quite the barrage of ammo to kill, but as soon as she does, you can leave, and that's, quite literally, the end. That concludes my in-depth look at the levels, and I'll close the review off by saying that I thoroughly recommend showing Thomas van der Velden some love by giving Harmony a go. He's long been one of my favourite creators in the Doom scene, and I've worked with him on a few projects here and there, and he's just an all-round great guy. I hope I provided an informative and unbiased perspective on what Harmony is. If you want to check it out, it's completely free to download. I also have my own soundtrack written specifically for the game in case you want to listen to some good old-fashioned MIDI files while you blast your way through Harmony. This soundtrack is available on both my Bandcamp and my website. There's a link in the description for this video. That's all for now. See you next time. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video. I have a shiny new website at jamespaddockmusic.com, so please go there if you're interested in seeing more of what I do, or commissioning me for music for your project. Also a reminder that you can join my Patreon, or donate to my Ko-fi if you like my work and want to throw me some support. Patreon supporters get early access to videos like this, plus sneak peeks at exclusive content as I work on my music and video game projects. Alright, that's everything. Cheers!